What's up? Anyway, I'm just trying to wake everyone up for this video. So, if you do not follow Nia Long on social media, you would probably have missed her promotion for her latest film that will be premiering on Netflix called Fatal Affair. This film actually will premiere July 16th on Netflix. The movie stars Omar Epps, Nia Long, and another actor by the name of Stephen Bishop. If you are very much in tune with African American cinema, then watching the trailer of Fatal Affair may seem very familiar to you. Why, you may ask? Well, because the premise surrounding the film Fatal Affair is very similar to previous African American films that we are familiar with. Films like When the Bow Breaks, The Perfect Guy, No Good Deed, and Obsessed are all films that share a similar premise to Netflix's Fatal Affair. In my opinion, one of the most notable films that share this premise is the 2009 film Obsessed, starring Beyonce and Idris Elba. The reason I feel this way is because it seems as though every few years after this film was released, more films that share this specific type of premise, starring mostly highly melanated beings, began to be released. Granted, each of these films did try to have its own spin on how the premise would unfold, whether it would be with the male character being obsessed or whether it would be with the female character being obsessed. Either way, these films mentioned share a similar genre. Yes, you heard me correctly. There's actually a genre for these kind of films. On the very popular film and television website imdb.com, they actually list these films under stalker obsession movies, pretty much categorizing these films under this specific genre. If you check out the list on their website, they actually list many different films that share a similar premise. Whether they're African American or not, chances are if you've seen a film that has this kind of premise to it, it is listed under this genre. So the question becomes, will Netflix's Fatal Affair be worth taking the time out to actually watch? After all, it seems as though if you've seen one of these films, you've seen it all. In fact, the actor Stephen Bishop, who stars in this film next to Nia Long and Omar Epps, was actually in a film that shares a similar premise where he played the obsessed stalker character. And it may seem eerie, but just like the premise is recycled, sometimes the actors that star in these films are recycled as well. For example, in 2009, the actor Idris Elba played the victim in the film Obsessed, which is also another stalker obsessed film. However, years later, he would go on to play the actual stalker himself in the film No Good Deed alongside Taraji P. Henson. Oh, but wait, there's more. In 2015, the actor Michael Ealy starred as the stalker obsessed character in the film The Perfect Guy alongside Sanaa Lathan and Morris Chestnut. However, in 2019, Michael Ealy went on to play the victim in the stalker obsessed film The Intruder alongside Megan Good and Dennis Quaid. See where I'm getting at with this? So, how can films like Fatal Affair win their audiences moving forward? Well, I believe it all comes down to the element of surprise as well as the plot twist. For example, there was another stalker obsessed film called Friend Request that was released in January of this year, starring many actors and actresses that I personally am not too familiar with. Although the main character, I may have seen him in some other things. I'm going to make sure I leave his picture up, and some of you may be very familiar with him as well. This film, as I was watching it, I was like, oh my gosh, I've seen this kind of film before. The acting, it was a little shaky. I suppose it may have been done on a lower budget, but at the same time, what kept me interested in the film was to figure out how the situation was going to be solved, and not to mention there was actually a plot twist during the middle of the film that held my attention. So, what I believe is that these films are worth watching if the writers can come up with a way to maintain their audience's attention. And I believe that all lies with the plot twist because, after all, we've seen these particular premise films over and over and over again. But what makes each one unique is the plot twist. However, some are very similar and some do fall flat, but I truly believe that it does not always have to be the case. So, with that being said, I truly believe that Fatal Affair will be worth seeing because after all, we don't know what the plot twist will be. We don't know, how the film could turn out. But I believe after watching the trailer, we do kind of have a good idea of what it's about. And sometimes these trailers seem to release too much information about a film so that when it comes to actually seeing the film, you kind of feel like you've already watched it due to the fact that the trailers nowadays release far too much information. However, I do believe it's worth taking a chance with. After all, if you have a Netflix subscription, why not? You've already paid for the subscription. It's not like you're going to the movie theater to see the film. So why not go ahead and check the film out? I am going to be very curious to see what plot twist will this film display in order to set it apart from all of the numerous stalker obsessed films that we already have, especially in the highly melanated community. So that's it. Let me know what you all think, and maybe I may come back with a video as a discussion for this film, Fatal Affair. But if I don't come back with one, then chances are I just didn't feel the need to and didn't really care too much for the film to even do one. So that's it. Let me know in the comment section if you all will check out this film on July 16th. Peace.